What's up, Inkie peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and it's my favourite time. It's Grab 5 time. So I've been wanting to film some more Grab 5 videos for ages, but whenever I start filming, it's when I remember that I want to film them. So I actually set out with the intention to do a double process video today, and I'm using some old stuff and some new stuff. So first up, I've got a 12 by 12 chipboard from the new crepe paper collection. I've got this Happy Planner sticker sheet from, I think it's from 2015. And this sticker sheet is from the Reset Girl back when I was on the design team. I got it in one of my monthly subscriptions. This is an older Cocoa Vanilla stamp. I have a feeling it could be from More Than Words collection, and then wood veneer. And I'm just doing the general category of wood veneer because I realized that I had temporarily forgotten about my wood veneer stash, so I've pulled them out. We're doing two 8.5 by 11 layouts today. Please excuse the very noisy motorcycle if you can hear it whizzing past my house. We're doing two 8.5 by 11 layouts, and they're both multiple photos. So this first one, I'm using some Cocoa Vanilla paper from my stash. Like I've said in the past few scrappy videos, I'm really trying to use up my stash of pattern paper because it's just sitting there, and I feel like sometimes it's too good to use, but I'd rather use it and actually have it in my albums. So for this one, I didn't really have an idea, except that I wanted the three photos to kind of go across the page, only because they fit so perfectly. Just the dimensions of the photos there, 3x4 that I printed on my Canon Selfie. And yes, this video, I've started to get a bit too anxious about it now. I am going to film a printing process video, but I've waited so long. I've been wanting to film this video for literally, at least 2 years, I would say. And it will get done this year, promise. That's a promise. I have to keep that promise now. I've still got 7 months to film it. We'll be good. But I'm just going through my little scraps box. I've been loving using my scraps box too. You'll see this drawer pop up in lots of videos over the next few months, and just using these little offcuts before I cut into the bigger pieces, because what happens is whenever I do a layout, because I don't really do many 12 by 12s anymore, I always have a strip cut off. It's either a 3 by 12 strip, or if it's an 8.5 by 11, it's a bit more, and they gather. These little strips of paper gather very, very quickly. So this layout is a great way to just use up those little strips of paper rather than using up a whole large piece. You could also use 6 by 12 or 6 by 6, paper pads if you have a lot of those in your stash. I do want to do some stash busting with some 6 by 6 paper pads, because they're another item, along with my wood veneer box, which you'll see me pull out in a little bit, that they've been left behind. I moved craft rooms, as you guys know, and some of my craft supplies are still back in the original room that I haven't moved yet. And I realized recently that I haven't seen my 6 by 6 paper pads for a long, long time. So I think I'm going to go through and do a big cull and a big video about them. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. If you've got anything in particular that you'd like me to do with 6 by 6 paper pads, if it's scrapbook layouts or PL or embellishments or even art journaling, let me know. If you've got any ideas, card making, I'm open to suggestions. I just want to get them used up. So this little sticker book, I wanted to show that just because something's branded as like a planner sticker sheet doesn't mean that you can't use it also in your scrapbooking. I love to use little icons and things like that. I've got so many of these planner sticker books. I think I've got about 4 of them. I think this was one of the first ones I got. This might have been the first one, actually. And I'm really trying to use up as many as I could that related to this day. So these photos were taken back last year. So all the photos I'm scrapping at the moment are still last year. I think this is December. I think we're actually in December, which is exciting, which means I'm almost done with 2018. But my one of my good friends from Tassie came up, and we got together with some other friends from high school and got the bubs, and we went and had a little play date. So that was really fun. If you watch our vlogs, this is little baby Monica and Poppy that we went to Tasmania with last year. So then I had this big blue camera, and I really wanted to put it somewhere because I had these kind of highlights of bluey aquary, but it was just a little bit too big. And then I found these little potty people. I'm sorry about the noises if you can hear. It's just started raining here and the roads are a bit wet. And honestly, whenever I film voiceovers, all of the trucks and buses and loud vehicles decide to go down my street. It's just inevitable. If it's not lawnmowers, it's the really large vehicles. So I decided to use these little wood veneer potty people, and I just put a little boy and two little girls for Archie, Monica and Poppy. And then I'm going through, and I really love the little hexagons on this sticker sheet. At first I was a little... I don't do hexagons. Hexagons are not one of my go-to shapes. You know this, peeps. They make me nervous. So I kind of didn't use them right away, but they're just so cute and little. The clusters are already done for you with the little group of 3. So I really love them, and I'm glad that I rediscovered this sticker sheet when I actually cleaned up my Rascog trolley and actually cleaned. It's amazing what you can find when you actually clean up. Are you the type of person do you like to clean and go through your craft stash regularly? Or are you the type of person like me that goes through it only once in a blue moon in a bit of a frenzied kind of state, like you have to search through and have to clean out everything, and then often get distracted by all of the fun things that you rediscover? That's me to a T. So down here I'm just adding a little bit of journaling, and I realized that this page is opposite a PL page which I filmed last week, but that video won't be up on YouTube for a few months, I think. And I wrote basically the exact same thing that I did on that other page, that just saying that my friend was up from Tasmania and blah, blah, blah. So we've got double the information now, but that's all good. Bit of Heidi Shine. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your Heidi Shine. Shake your Heidi Shine. Shaking it here and there and popping a bit in my clusters. You can see that I really do love the diagonal look. Another motorbike. Is everyone going out for a motorbike ride today? My street, honestly, does not get vehicles like this very often. We do not. My street is not one for the motorbikes, but yet they're all out today in the rain. Oh dear. So just put some Heidi Shine on there, and I love the way it looks. It's kind of like a fresh layout, and the focus is really on those photos. So now we're on to the next one. I often struggle with vertical 4x6 photos. I don't know what it is. Does anyone else struggle with them? I'm good at making a layout that has a horizontal, like a landscape directed 4x6 photo, but there's just something about the vertical ones. I think it's because I'm not used to that direction of photo, because when you do Project Life, 99% of the time the plastic page protectors that you use are the ones that allow for the landscape oriented 4x6 photos, but not the vertical ones. And I find them a little bit tricky. So for this layout, there wasn't too much space to play with, and I decided to go cray with the wood veneer. So I'm going through my words because I feel like the words are definitely a little bit neglected. Some of these I've had for years and years and years. I think I can't even remember where I got them from. The hashtag ones I think may have come in a Studio Calico kit from years ago. I'm not really sure where the rest of them are from, I'm sorry, but they all wouldn't be available anymore. This is a bit of a stash dive, this one, but I've picked out a few words that just kind of apply for the photo. This was one of, I just couldn't help but snap this picture of Archie in his little Santa hat and singlet, waiting. I think he was waiting for Aaron to come home, actually, or my dad to come over, one or the other, and I thought it looked like he was waiting for Santa to arrive, and so I snapped a little pic. I love the photo of him with his hands up on the window. We constantly have to clean this window because it's Archie's little viewpoint out to the world, and he likes to blow kisses through there and put his hands all over it, and it's just fabulous. So then I didn't want to do too much layering, like paper layering behind my photos. I knew that they would overlap, and so I thought that I would just focus most of the paper layers just on this top left-hand photo. I did want to matte both of them, a bit tongue-tied there, both of them just with white cardstock, because I don't know, I just felt with the wood veneer it was very, very busy, and I felt like the photos needed that little highlight of white as a border just to make them pop a little bit. So I'm going through my neutrals scrap paper drawer and just trying to pick something that was just very simple, black and white, keep it white and crisp and fresh. So I'm just picking a few papers, and a lot of the time the papers in my scraps drawer, as I imagine most people's scraps are, they can be a bit of an awkward shape, and sometimes a little bit difficult to use when matting behind larger photos like this, like a 4x6, as opposed to like teeny tiny photos like 3x4s or 2x3s. So sometimes it is a little tricky to use my scraps successfully, but I think I worked out a couple of layers here. And then I'm using the grey and white stripe, which is from some older Citrus Twist packaging, and it would have to be my favourite packaging ever. And I know it's so simple, it's just a grey and white stripe, but my goodness, have I used this packaging on so many layouts and even PL cards. It's just a really great neutral. So always have a check of your sticker packaging and ephemeras to see if you can use the background in a bit of a different and interesting way. So I didn't want to do too many paper layers because I knew the wider that my photo became, the less room that I would have for the wood veneer. And I also wanted to make sure that this bottom right-hand photo had enough room to overlap without covering up his little hand on the window there. So I'm just sticking that down, and then I'm going to grab some glossy accents, which is my glue of choice at the moment because my Scotch tacky glue is basically run out. It's up to the explosive stage, as you've seen in past videos, where it doesn't allow just a little bit to come through. It just explodes out when you least expect it. I think I have another glue somewhere. I've got to try and find it. It's in some box somewhere, but the glossy accent's been working for me, and it's nice because it has a very fine tip. And I realized that I bought 3 or 4 bottles for the class that I taught at the Scrapbooking and Papercraft Expo last June, and I still have them. So I thought I might as well use them up because glue doesn't always last forever, especially in the hot Aussie humid climate. And so now that we're going into winter in next month, I thought it was a good time to try and use up as much of my stash as I could. I realised at this point that I really needed to include the chipboard, and it's a bit tricky using, I guess it's not for Aussies because our Christmas, of course, is in the middle of summer. However, I think it's sunny. Is it Sunny Days? I think it's Sunny Days. The crepe paper collection was very sun and beach and outdoors and not related to this photo. But I always like to try and find I call them the generic icons, things like cameras and hearts. They can work for any layout, so it's handy to have those on a sticker sheet. I wanted to add another pop of black up the top because I had the black of the camera down the bottom, and I felt like I needed to kind of balance it out at the top. And then I wanted to do a technique that I have been doing a ton of recently. I've been filming in advance for YouTube, so you'll see this in some videos over there on Inkie Quill over the next 4 or so months. but I love using Posca paint pens on top of wood veneer and then using glossy accents over the top. It just makes it so shiny and crisp and hard, and it's delicious. So I thought I was going to do all of the wood veneers in red, but I'm glad I saw these 2 arrows that say love you, and so the title of this very busy, very word heavy layout is going to be love you. So I'm just very carefully using the glossy accents and putting it over the top. If you haven't used glossy accents before, how many times can I say that word in this video? If you haven't used glossy accents before, it's a glue that dries glossy and shiny and hard. So if you have, say for example, if I had put this over the top of one of those Happy Planner stickers, like the Love This black sticker at the top, if I had put glossy accents over the top, it would look kind of like an enamel sticker. So it's a good product to pick up if you are out and about. In Australia, I think these bottles are, I think I paid about $10 for a bottle. This is the larger one, maybe a bit more than that actually. And they're fun to experiment with. However, be warned, if you put the glue and it, you know how sometimes when you put glue on something and it oozes out the side, you will be able to see it when it dries. It dries very shiny, very glossy. So make sure that if you have any spills anywhere, you might have to cover them up with some other sort of embellishment. So I'm just sticking some little sprinkly bits here and there. And I just want to say thank you for your understanding with missing the video for the 5th. That's going to be up at the exact same time as this one. We've been dealing with the sickness again. Poor Arch had double ear infection and a head cold, and has also passed that on to Aaron. So he's off work sick today and yesterday, and we're off to the doctors this afternoon. I'm starting to feel a little tickle in my throat. I'm really hoping I can avoid it, but we'll see. We'll see how the next week goes, but it's just a fact of life and the joys of having a child in daycare. So I'm just adding the stamp here, and I know I kind of copped out with the stamp in the Grab 5, but however, there are no rules with the Grab 5. There's no rule to the amount of the supplies you have to use, the amount of each supply, I should say, you have to use in the thing, just as long as all 5 of them are used. And I will admit, I did just do a voiceover for a YouTube video in a few months' time where I completely forgot one of the Grab 5 items, and there's only 4. But I just did those little heart stamps. I had intended when I picked that stamp set to do something with the floral embellishment, but the photos that I picked didn't really match with the florals, so I'll save that for another one. So the layout is done, just doing my doodly border to contain all of those words and make sure they don't fall off the page, and it's all finished. If you would like to see more Grab 5 videos over here, let me know, and let me know if you'd like to see more layouts or PL, or challenge me to like a Grab 5 art journal video maybe. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!